Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijender Singh Tamar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College, Gudha. In the series of video lecture which is being prepared by me, this video is meant for the students of English literature. This is not a topic which is prescribed to any one class. It is useful for all the students of English literature, whether they belong to be part first, second, third, or PG students. The topic which I have chosen for this is a literary term, ode. What is an ode? You will learn about it in this video, and you must have heard this name and some knowledge of about it must have in your up to senior classes. Now let us come to the real topic. Now what is an ode? Ode is a short lyric. It is written in praise of some individual, some idea, or some event. They are often ceremonial, means they celebrate some ceremony type. Formal in tone, their formalities are maintained. There are several different types of odes, but they are all highly structured and adhere to poetic form. They follow certain rules, certain forms which have been fixed by their founders. If any poet or any composer follow that ode will come into that kind. In different words, an ode is a special kind of lyric, more dignified, stately, elaborate than the simple lyric. Like the lyric, it is also originated in ancient Greece. The word ode is simply the Greek word for song. That is, in Greek language, ode means song. And it was used by the Greeks for any kind of lyric, that is, for any song sung with the lyre. Lyre was a musical instrument which was known to Greeks, or to the accompaniment of some dance, describing in elaborately formal language the feats, achievements of a god or hero. However, as far as English literature is concerned, the term is now applied to only one particular kind of lyric verse. An English ode may be defined as a lyric with an elaborate metrical structure, solemn in tone, usually taking the form of address, very open to some abstraction. Now, if we keep these definition, formal definition of ode in mind, and if we are to give a simple idea to an ordinary student, we will say ode is a lyric. Lyric, as you know, is a expression of emotions, spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, you can say. And then second quality is it is in the form of an address. It is addressed to somebody, particularly some abstract idea, person, or whatever it may be. Third, it has a particular kind of pattern, meter, structure, which are supposed to be followed by the composer of an ode. Now, the essential feature of ode, the essential characteristics of a modern English ode are the following. Number one, it is in the form of an address, often to some abstraction, abstract quality which cannot be seen or touched. For example, ode to the west wind, ode to autumn, Ode on a Saint Cecilia's Day, Ode to Solitude, etc., which cannot be seen or touched. It is not written about, but written to. The second characteristic is it has a lyric enthusiasm. It is lyric expression of emotional feelings. So it is lyric, have enthusiasm and emotional intensity. Expression of spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It is a spontaneous overflow of the poet's emotions. Its theme is dignified and exalted. It is high seriousness. It is not a light poem, it is very serious poem. It means odes are always very serious. They are not light. Its style is equally elevated, it is great. It is also sufficiently long to allow for the full development of its dignified theme. That is, the theme which is chosen by the poet is given ample space to make what the poet wants to say clear to the audience or readers. The development of thought is logical and clear. Its metrical pattern, as I told you, the composer of an ode is supposed to follow a particular kind of meter, particular kind of structure. It may be regular or irregular. Pattern may be metrical, may be regular or irregular, but it is always elaborate and often complex and intricate. These are the features of an ode. So ode is a poem, it is an address, it has certain features. Any poem which follow these characteristics is called an ode. Now, variety or kinds of ode. There are 4 kinds of ode. The first is the Pindaric ode, the Horatian ode, the regular ode, or the irregular ode. First, let us take in detail the Pindaric ode. Pindar, the greatest lyric poet of ancient Greece, was the father of Pindaric or choric ode. Pindaric ode is also known as choric, means group. It was sung by the group singers. Pindaric odes were written generally in honor of the gods or to sing the triumphs or victories of some ruler, general, or athlete. Means it was written just to celebrate some occasion, some achievement. The achievement may be of some god, general, or athlete. A Pindaric ode has a fixed stanza structure or pattern. This is very important for Pindaric ode. The number of stanzas may vary, but they are always arranged in the groups of 3, each group being called a triad. That is, Pindaric ode may be short, may be long, but it is always in the group of 3 stanzas. That is, either there will be 3 stanzas, 6, 9, 27, 33, means like this. The stanza will not be in the odd, you can say, in such a form that it can be divided by 2. It will always divided by 3. It cannot be 8. There must be 9 stanza, not 7, like that. And each group of 3 is called triad. The first stanza in each triad is called a strophe. It was chanted and sung by the dancing chorus as it produced in one direction. They move on the stage, they used to sing this poem and they follow and go ahead in one direction. This is called strophe. The second stanza in each triad is called an antistrophe. It was chanted by the chorus as it written. When the singers or the group singers, when they come back towards their position, initial position, it was sung. So it is called antistrophe. Strophe means moving forward, antistrophe moving backward. The third stanza in each triad is called an epode, and it was sung when the chorus was tested, when they were fixed at one place. Thus, the Pindaric ode has a fixed stanza pattern but enjoys greater rhythmical and metrical freedom. Gray's, Thomas Gray's, The Bard and the Progress of Poesy belong to this class. Means Thomas Gray was one of such writer who used to write Pindaric odes. Now the second, the Horatian ode. This kind of ode has been named after Latin poet Horace. Horace, a great Roman poet who imitated Pindar. He tried to copy Pindar, but with far-reaching modification. But he brought out certain changes in the pattern. The Horatian ode consists of a number of stanzas with a more or less regular metrical structure, but without any division into triads of the Pindaric ode. Means number of stanza may be any number. It is not bounded by any division of 3, as it was compulsory for the Pindaric ode. It may be rhymed or unrhymed. This kind of ode is light and personal, not choric. Pindaric ode were sung by group singers, but here it is personal, individual, without the elaboration and complexity of the Pindaric ode. The famous ode upon Cromwell's return from Ireland by Andrew Marvell belongs to this kind of lyric form. Now the third, the regular ode. This kind of ode is based on some scheme of arrangement in the stanza, as the name indicates, regular. Means there is a fixed pattern. This is so in the case of Wordsworth's Ode to Duty, Shelley's Ode to Skylark. After the death of Gray, the writing of Pindaric odes came to an end. Then the poets began to write new kind of odes in which the stanza have a uniform metrical arrangement or pattern which is repeated in the course of the whole poem. I mean, they have a uniform pattern of each stanza. That is why they are called regular ode. And it was used by Shelley, Wordsworth. Then the fourth variety of ode is the irregular ode. This is the most important and most commonly used form or variety of ode by the poets. The irregular, as the name indicates, which is not followed by any fixed rules and regulations. The irregular ode was introduced in 1656 by Abraham Cowley, who imitated the Pindaric style and meter, but disregarded the recurrent stanzic pattern each strophic triad. Means he did try to copy, try to follow Pindar, but he did not follow the Pindaric compulsion of triad that is written in the group of 3 stanzas. Instead, he allowed each stanza to establish its own pattern of variable line lengths, number of lines, and rhyme scheme. He did not try to copy Pindar, but he gave each stanza its own metrical structure, rhyme scheme, etc. This type of irregular stanzic structure, which is free to alter, means free to change in accordance with the shifts in subject and mood, has been the most common for the English ode ever since. Means it does not have a fixed structure. It changes according to the requirement of thought and emotion of the poet. And as it is free from any foundation or any rigidity of rules, so it is the most common variety of ode usually followed by poets. Wordsworth's ode, Intimation of Immortality, is a masterpiece of this type. This irregular ode were also written, but they were very popular. Now, more than 90% or you could say maximum number of English odes are irregular. Thank you very much.